Okay, this is video blog number 8 um, for CEP 463. This was on our last guest speaker, Brent Bush. I really thought his story was actually quite interesting because he has done more than I think I've ever seen anybody do before. He was a lawyer. He was a comm major, marketing major. He's worked in a bunch of nonprofit organizations. He works for the Russell Nesbitt service, which is one thing he said he's like a social worker in a suit. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Disability services. Worked in the trust businesses. So the biggest thing with him is I liked how he was like really intrigued about what we were doing and how important he thought it was, because it is important to get involved with the community. He was really big into like how social organizations work and how they affect the community, which I thought was really interesting. One thing he did that really stuck in my head is where you go is as important as what you do. So like what you're gonna do like has to fit with the area that you're in, which I thought was really interesting because with our area, nonprofit's really big right now. So most of what we're going into is gonna be gonna work around here in this area. He said he's worked in banks. Like he's done pretty much everything possible. The one thing I liked about him is that he's involved in more than just the marketing and the law, like what his job and the trust management stuff. He's involved with a lot with the disability service because he had a family member, his sister, and that just made me think about my mom because my mom has trouble doing a lot of things because she had a stroke. So I thought that was pretty interesting. He spoke about how important it was for people like us to get involved in the community so it can have a better future, and make sure that people like us are there to teach upcoming people how to stay involved with the community and keep places like Wheeling up and thriving. He really was talked a lot about community support and how important it is to get involved with them. And when it comes to community education, it ties in perfectly because we need community support from the community for education aspect, and then we need to support the community back by educating them. So it kind of fits hand in hand. Another thing was he talked a lot about how important, like he asked, most of the guest presenters always ask all of us what we want to do, but I think he was a little more intrigued than most people. This was one of my favorite guest speakers because he gave us like insight on our background. Like most of the other presenters kind of just asked us what we wanted to do with our degrees and stuff, but he actually like gave us input on it. He didn't take a lot of time to do it, but he like said, okay, well you could do this too, and like he's one of the ones who like kind of gave us like, oh, like not services, but like he's like, oh, you can talk to these people to do this, and then when we got done, me and Brady, he was talking to me, and they were talking about doing something. He's one of those. He said, I remember one thing he said during his presentation too was, if you guys can come up with the ideas, because he's kind of busy with work and everything, I can hook up the funding and stuff, which I thought was really cool too, because I mean that's awesome because all we have to do is come up with the ideas and he can hook us up with who we need to get in touch with to do the funding for things like that. And I thought that was really cool, especially for the disability services, because like he said, there's not much for people like that to do. Like my mom doesn't have much to do because she can't really work due to her disability, and it would be nice for her to have like something like weekly, even monthly, to like look forward to and to go do, and to meet people that might have similar or be like her, which would be really cool. So this is definitely, I think this even goes a little bit bigger than community education. I think it's like about just caring more about, I'm more of an equality thing, like for the community, because like he said, like there are no camps for kids with disabilities and stuff, and I never thought about it until like you're like, yeah, he's right, like, and like you can't accommodate. I mean, the things that are out there now don't accommodate those kind of needs and things, and that's something that we should do, even though it's not done, which I thought was awesome. And so yeah, that was my number 8 for my video blog. Brent Bush.